Is Denise Corson. I'm the program coordinator of the Adaptive Telephone Equipment Loan Program. We were created by the ADA over 30 years ago to help with communication. It started off as the deaf, and now we do deaf, hard of hearing, and neuromuscular disabilities. So you have to have one of those three disabilities in order to participate in our program to get free equipment. You also have to be a Rhode Island resident, and you have to make less than 250% of the poverty level, which is approximately about $30,000 for your household. How do you apply? You can either call our office and we will mail you an application, either a landline application or a wireless application with a certificate of disability. Or you can go to our website and you can download the application and certificate of disability. The certificate of disability needs to be signed by either a doctor or an audiologist. You also have to include proof of income that you're eligible for our program. We do landline devices and we also do wireless devices. For landline devices, we do big buttoned, very easy to use amplified phones, and we also do cordless phones. All our phones have caller ID so that you can see who's calling before you answer. They all have a 95 decibel ring and about 50 decibels of amplification to hear from. They also have tone control, which basically means you can make their voice louder and clearer, not just loud. So tone is very important for clarity. So again, all our phones do have that. We also have two different model captioning phones. The one on the left, the white one, is the Caption 840i. That just looks more like a standard telephone. So again, it's easier to use if you're not savvy with tablets and things like that. The black one is the 2400i, and that has a touch screen, a speakerphone, and it's just a little more technical looking than the other one. But again, they both do the same thing. They both use captioning operators that everything the person is saying to the hard of hearing person is transcribed by a live operator for them to read. There is no charge for that service or for the device. You still can hear from the phone. If you're able to understand, you can communicate that way. And if you're not able to understand, then you can read it. I tell people an analogy a lot of times about when would you need a captioning versus just an amplified phone. And I tell this joke a lot because I think it makes sense and most people can relate to it. Three hard of hearing people are standing on the street corner. The first one says, "Brr, it's windy." The second one says, "No, it's Thursday." And the third one said, "Me too, let's get a drink." So you have three people there that kind of heard what was being said, but didn't completely understand what's being said. So that's the difference between just amplification, making it louder, and when you need words to make things clearer. We also do emergency devices that work through your landline. So if you wear a pendant and you press the button, it goes right to a 911 operator in an event of emergency. There's no monthly fee because it goes directly to a 911 operator. And for people with neuromuscular disabilities, we have a hands-free speakerphone that can be answered and hung up with a remote control. So any of these devices are available. It is only one per household. We also do wireless technology. We do more simple phones like the Jitterbug and the Lucia, and then we do smartphones like the iPhone and the Google Pixel. The Jitterbug is really good for an elderly person that doesn't want a smart device, just wants to make phone calls. And the Lucia is the same thing, but it's a little better for people with visual disabilities as well, because it has tactile buttons and colors for them to see. The iPhone and the Google Pixel, again, it's your preference on which operating device you like to use, and you can request either one of them. We do not pay for your monthly service plan. We only pay for the device itself. If you have difficulty with paying for either your internet service or your cellular service, there are programs that are for Rhode Islanders. If you look at this website, That's Innovation Rhode Island. If you check out that website, it gives you what's going on in Rhode Island and what opportunities there are for you to go get low-income internet or cellular plans. So I encourage you to go there. So why we thought smartphones were important to bring into our program a few years ago is because they do many things. They don't just make a phone call. They have amplification. They have alerts for people that can vibrate or have a light. So if somebody doesn't hear it ringing, there's other things that you can put on the phone to know it's ringing. A lot of deaf and hard of hearing people like to communicate via text so they can read what's being said. If they want to do a phone call and use their own voice, there are relay apps that you can actually make a phone call and have an operator put on your screen what people are being said. You can also do video calls. Not only can you do video relay, you can do FaceTime, Skype, any of these types of services where you have one-on-one, where you can see people's faces. That's really important with the deaf and hard of hearing. A lot of phones have emergency buttons on them as well. And also a lot of phones, smartphones have support if you use hearing aids or cochlear implants. So there's lots of good reasons on why we have smartphones in our program and why we think they're really important for the deaf and hard of hearing. I mentioned that one of the apps that you can put on a smartphone is called Caption. And basically when you use that app, it's kind of like the CapTel phone, where when you make a phone call through that app, everything is being captioned. The voice is still going through of the person calling you, but then you also have the benefit of reading what's being said if you have a hard time understanding them. Two other apps that are wonderful, whether you have an iOS or an Android device, are Otter and Live Caption. They both do not use operators. They both are live transcribe type programs where if you were in person with someone and you wanted to have it transcribed because you couldn't understand what's being said, or you're at a meeting and you're having a hard time understanding what's being said, these apps you can put on your smart device and be able to know what's corresponding in front of you. Both of them have a bit of free service, and then you have to pay after a certain amount of minutes. What is exclusive to Android phones is called Live Transcribe that you can download, but it has to be an Android device. And it does what I was talking about with the other apps. However, there is no limit on how long you can use it for. And again, it is built right into any Android to download and be able to be used. The Google Pixel is just a really phenomenal smartphone that's recently come out with two really fabulous features that I really think are important for the deaf and hard of hearing. One is called Google Recorder, which is similar to what I was just describing with Live Transcribe. However, with Google Recorder, it's actually happening, all the transcribing is happening on the phone itself. So it means it's not getting sent off to a third-party site to be transcribed and sent back to your phone. It actually doesn't require you to have Wi-Fi, and it doesn't require you to have a cellular plan in order to transcribe what's going on in front of you. So that again is only available on certain Pixel models. The other thing that is exclusive right now to the Pixel phone is something called Live Caption. And it's built into that phone itself, and it would allow you, if you were listening to something that wasn't captioned, if you listen through the phone, let's say somebody sent you a video and you have no idea what that video is saying, you hit the little setting for Live Caption and everything on that video would be transcribed for you. Also, if you wanted to listen to a podcast and you had a hard time understanding what was being said on the podcast, the same thing is you can click on that little feature and everything is transcribed for you. So again, the Google Recorder and Live Captions are exclusive to the Pixel phone. That probably in the future will be on all Androids, but right now just on those two, just on that one device. I also like to tell people we're part of a larger organization called ATEL, which is the Assistive Technology Access Partnership of Rhode Island. So we are a group of partners that work together to improve access, information, and demonstrations to Rhode Islanders of assistive technology. ORS is our lead agency, as well as ATEL, obviously, East Bay Educational Collaborative, OSL, and Tech Access. So we all work together to try to bring resources to Rhode Island. And we recently, in the last week or two, created a website. So all our information that we're gathering from all these organizations, we share on that that Facebook page. So I encourage you to visit and like our Facebook page to see what's going on in Rhode Island, what resources are out there to help you. We also have had for the last couple of years a hearing and speech lab and loaner library. If you visit our website, we have a link that shows you all the different types of devices that we have there. Hearing devices, we have TV systems, Bluetooth devices, personal amplifiers, FM systems, vibrating watches, door knockers, fire alarms, alarm clocks, different types of telephones. So if there's something you want to borrow before you purchase, or something you had broke and you need a short-term loan, any of our devices are available for short-term loans. We also have the availability during the COVID that we can FedEx it to you. So if you had an item that you needed, even though our lab is currently closed right now, we would be able to FedEx that to you. We do have a couple speech devices as well. We have relay telephones, and we also have speech amplifiers. When we are back in session, we also do demonstrations for iPhones and iPads. So if people wanted to come and learn about different things, they could come and sign up for our lab. We're hoping to be hosting some webinars through our ATEL Facebook page coming up soon. So stay tuned to that so we can share some information on with you. I also like to tell people that might be working in a business in Rhode Island that there is a device called a Hamilton Captel for Business. Hamilton is not our relay provider, so there is not really somebody that is actively promoting that this device exists in Rhode Island. But if you have a Cisco phone system at your office, you are able to download software to it so that you are able to caption phone calls. So you would not need any kind of special device in your office. You would just have software downloaded to your actual telephone. And when you pick up that telephone, you're able to caption what's being said. I do get a lot of phone calls about people in offices and they want to be able to transfer calls using the Captel phone. And unfortunately, the Captel phone cannot be integrated into a phone system. You would need to have a business type phone system in order for that to work. This is all our contact information. You're welcome to call us, check out our Facebook page or email. We're always looking to provide information on what resources there are out there, whether you qualify for our program or you don't. Again, we're very familiar with all the different types of resources for the deaf and hard of hearing in Rhode Island. So we encourage you, if you have a question, to reach out and we'd be happy to get back to you. Thank you.